Hello fam, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jane. I'm a personal trainer based in New York City, and today we are walking through my first official workbook. So I just came out with this workbook. It's called Jumpstart Your Journey, and today I'm going to take you through the whole workbook. If you haven't already downloaded the workbook, you can click through the link in the description box below. Download it. I'm using GoodNotes, but you can do it on your computer, on your iPad. You can do it on your phone too, but it's a little difficult just because it's so small. And I know some people like downloaded it on their computer and then got a physical journal and like answered the questions separately. So that is also an option if that's what you want to do. So on the first page, we just have a little welcome note, and I'm not gonna like read the whole thing out loud, but I do just want to give a little bit of background on who I am if you don't know who I am and why I created the workbook to begin with. So first of all, I'm Jane. I'm a certified personal trainer through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I've been working as a personal trainer for about 2 years now. I'm really big on functional training and just working out in a way that's not only going to support your health and fitness, but also support how you move in your daily life. That's about me. I created the workbook for you. This is actually something that I've been doing with my clients, with my program members, with myself for a really long time, but this is the first time that I've actually written it down on paper. So if you are starting a fitness journey, or maybe you're bored with your fitness journey, maybe you feel like you've plateaued, this is a way to restart your fitness journey as well. So what it's gonna do is really just help you figure out what works for you. What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? What do you actually enjoy doing to begin with? I find that a lot of times people plateau or fall off the tracks because they don't even like what they're doing in the first place. So that is like the overview of why we're here. We're gonna jump into the first chapter, which is how to set a goal. I first learned about SMART goals in college, in like my college health class, and I remember sitting there and just being like, this is so dumb. Like, I was not about SMART goals at all. Then I became a trainer. They talk about SMART goals in your certification, and again I was like, this is so dumb. And then I had a mentor who actually made us create SMART goals for ourselves and like try them out, and that was the moment that I was like, oh, okay, now I understand like why SMART goals are so important. So although I do understand if it sounds a little like too structured, it is a really great way to set goals for yourself. So first of all, let's talk about goals in general. So you might have an overarching goal of, these are a couple of examples I have in here, is like, I want to be healthy, I want to get stronger, I want to lose weight, I want to feel happier, I want to do push-ups. So these are all like super general overarching goals, maybe something that would be like a 2021 resolution, right? So when we're thinking about SMART goals, you can create a SMART goal for an overarching goal, but I think that it's more effective to create SMART goals for like 4 to 6 weeks. That way you can actually watch the progress, you can actually see how it's affecting you, and you use those building blocks you use those building blocks to get to your overarching goal. So SMART goals stand for specific. So you want to make it super, super specific. But you might say like 2021, I want to get healthy. But what does healthy mean to you? What does that look like? Really try to get very, very specific with what, like defining what whatever your goal is actually means. Measurable is a huge one because a lot of times we just set goals that's like, yeah, I want to do push-ups is the example I use. Okay, so that's great, but how many push-ups do you want to do? Do you want to do 5? Do you want to do 10? Like, there's a big difference there, and your training is going to change depending on what, like how many you actually want to do, you know? And also with measurable, you may want to start thinking of ways to track your goals, but we're going to actually go over that later on in the workbook. Attainable, can you actually do this goal? So if my goal is to do 10 push-ups in January, and right now I can't do any, I'm setting myself up for failure. I'm setting myself up to be disappointed because it's just more than likely not gonna happen. And I think that it's a lot better to overachieve your goals than to set a super high goal and come up short. That's how people get discouraged. That's how you start feeling like you're a failure, and we just want to avoid all those feelings if we can. Setting yourself up for success. Is this attainable? Is this something you can actually do? Realistic and relevant. 2 very important ones. It's kind of like a double R. Some people switch them out, but I think that both are important. So realistic. Is this realistic for you? If you realistically only have like 3 days to work out during the week, don't set yourself a goal of working out 5 days, because it's just realistically not gonna happen. So be realistic with yourself, be honest with yourself. Is this realistic for you? And relevant, this is kind of throwing it back to that overarching goal. Is this relevant to your overarching goal? So if I had a goal of strength training, I want to be really, really strong, a barbell back squat is fantastic, because if I get stronger with my barbell back squat, I'm getting stronger overall. But if my goal is to get stronger, I probably don't want to set a goal of running a 5K every day, because this is training endurance and I want to be training strength. time bound. Give yourself a due date. This kind of goes back to making it super specific for yourself. And again, I just think that that 4 to 6 week time frame is really, really good. I do everything month to month. And it's just a good way to like stay on track, celebrate your wins throughout the month. And I think month to month just makes it easy on your brain to be like, okay, it's the end of January. Let's see if I've completed my goal for the month. So if you want to take a minute to pause the video here to brainstorm for your SMART goal, go ahead and do that. Now that you've brainstormed, we're gonna take it down into like a 1-sentence, super easy, simple goal. So the example that I have is that I will complete 3 cycling workouts each week this month. So this is attainable. I know that I can do this. I have the time to do this. It's measurable. I'm gonna do 3 cycling workouts per week. Specific, I know what kind of workout I'm doing. It's realistic, I have the time to do 3. It's relevant, my overarching goal is to increase my endurance, and this is gonna help me do that. And it's time bound, I'm gonna do this 3 days each week this month. So I know when my due date is. So the end of January rolls around and I look back and I'm like, okay, did I complete my goal? Did I not complete my goal? And it's very clear whether I did that or not. So now I want you to pause the video again. We're gonna take that brainstorming that we did on the previous page and bring it all together so that we create a 1-sentence SMART goal. All right, so you have your SMART goal. Now what? We're gonna fast forward 4 to 6 weeks. So whatever your goal is, you've gone through the month, you've done all the things, and you have 2 scenarios here. Scenario 1 is that you did it, you hit the goal, everything was great, you progressed as you wanted to, it is the end of the month, we are good to go, now we just rinse and repeat. So you know what works for you, just keep moving in that same direction. Scenario number 2 is that you don't complete the goal. So maybe if your goal was to work out 3 days a week, this week you only worked out once a week, and then the next week out you worked, or the next week you worked out 2 times a week, and so it just wasn't as consistent as you wanted it to be. That is totally fine. You're not gonna complete every goal that you set, and that's a good thing. Because what that's gonna do is let you know what works and what doesn't. So I'm a great example of like, it's the first week of January and I've already failed my New Year's resolution. That's okay. I know that the goal that I set for myself every week wasn't structured enough for me. So next week, I already have a plan set out that's much clearer for me so that I can set myself up for success again. And just something I like to remind y'all of, remind myself of, remind my clients of, is that progress is not linear. We don't go from A to Z and it's just easy as that. Progress moves like this. There's lots of ups and downs and loop-de-loops and whatnot, and that's a good thing. That's how progress should be. So just trust the process, stick with it, and you just gotta find things that you like and work for you. Next up, we have how to track your progress. The reason that tracking is so important to begin with is because if you don't track, you don't really understand if you are completing the goal or not. There's no way to know if you've done it. So there are a million ways that you could track. These are just some examples, and you can take little bits and pieces from all of these and mix and mash them together, whatever works for you. So this is really just to spark your creativity, to get you just a starting point, but there is no right or wrong way to track your fitness. So the first 2 are probably the most like traditional or popular, something you are maybe a little bit more familiar with. The first one is progress pictures or videos. We see these all the time. We see before and afters all over Instagram. A lot of YouTubers do like body updates. So we see a lot of progress pictures and videos, and for some people, these are awesome. Especially if you have a goal of body composition, this really shows you what is working for that and what is not working for that. I know a lot of my bodybuilding friends love progress pictures because they can really see the progress, and that keeps them motivated and keeps them going. The second one is the scale. So this one can be a little bit tricky because traditional scales just don't give you a whole lot of information. That single number isn't showing you a lot besides just how much you weigh. So if you're gonna go the scale route, what I recommend is purchasing a smart scale, because smart scales are just gonna give you a little bit more information on like your body fat, your muscle mass, how much water you've had, all that kinds of stuff, and it'll track it for you in the app that it comes with, so it actually, you don't need to write anything down, it just keeps track of it for you. Something to keep in mind with smart scales though is that they are not absolute. To get like absolute numbers for all these things, you need a lot more equipment, it can be very expensive. So these are really just like, take it with a grain of salt, you know? And with scales and progress pictures, I recommend doing it every 4 to 6 weeks again. So at the end of that due date, if you take progress pictures every week, you're not gonna see a whole lot of change from week to week, but at the end of 4 weeks, you'll probably notice a little bit more. Okay, Okay, so now we're moving on to some maybe not so traditional ways to track your progress. So one of my favorite ways to track my progress is skill-based, especially when I was working with kettlebells on like a daily basis. Skill-based tracking was it for me. I was learning how to do like a kettlebell snatch. So I started with cleans, and then I started working with like fake out snatches. Then I eventually moved into snatches. So that was a really easy way to track my journey from beginning to end with mastering, okay, I'm not a master, but with getting better at my kettlebell snatch. Now I'm working out more for a general feeling, more just to be happy and healthy and feel more focused throughout the day. So journaling is something that I've really relied on more. There's a lot of different ways you can journal. I run through some of them here. Mind dumping, where you just kind of write what you're feeling. Journal prompts, there's a lot of different prompts online, a lot of Instagram accounts that post journaling prompts, or you can just make up your own. And checklists, which I think if you are someone who just wants a really simple, easy way to, like, if you just want like a 3-minute thing to do at the end of your workout, checklists are great for you because you just write them out ahead of time, and then it's just like mark off what you did, mark off what you didn't do. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time. You can also make a mix of all of these, and I've actually created a lot of these for my clients and given it to them, and then they can just like kind of like this, like download it to GoodNotes and then just go through and create a new page every day with that template. So I recommend making these ahead of time and then maybe using the same one for the month, and then maybe switching it up or keeping the same one, whatever works for you. This is just an example of how all of these could be used together. So those are just some ideas of how you could track your fitness. Let's talk about the why. So in fitness, there's a lot of talk about motivation and discipline, which are important, but I think even more importantly, you need to know why you're doing it. Why are you doing the exercises that you're doing? Why, like, if you can't answer the why questions about your fitness routine, maybe it's time to dissect that a little bit more and just figure out why you're here to begin with. Because if you don't know why you're here, how are you supposed to have the motivation or discipline? So we're gonna answer some questions to figure out your why. So I've just created a list of questions and then given you a space to brainstorm it. So go through the questions, answer the ones that click with you, skip the ones that don't, and then we'll put it all together in a why statement. You've brainstormed all of your questions, you have some big answers. Now we're gonna take all of that and put it into a why statement. So your why statement should be like 1 to 2 sentences long, something that resonates with you and makes you excited when you read it. Think about something that you could put on a sticky note and then like just put it in your bathroom mirror, so like you wake up in the morning and then you're like, ah, yes, that's why I'm working out today. Pause the video here, create your why statement. If you wanna comment it below, we can cheer each other on. I'll share mine. Pause it here, create your why statement. Here's the big one, okay? How to create a routine. And more importantly, how to create a routine that you actually like. I've divided this into 2 parts. I'm gonna talk about the like overall stuff, and then I'll kind of let you dive into whatever part is more relevant to you. So routines are so personal to you. No two people's routine should look the same. We're all individuals and our routine should be individualized. The questions that I have written out for you are just to help you start thinking about what do you want in a routine. You don't need to have your perfect routine written out right now. These are just to help you explore what a routine looks like for you, what's gonna work for you, what are you gonna be excited about doing. So if you are like restarting your fitness journey, maybe just taking another look at it, this first page is for you if you have a current routine, to help you reflect on what's going on in your current routine and hopefully give you some ideas on how to like spruce up your routine, what's working in it, what's not working with it, all those kinds of things. The second page is for someone who maybe doesn't have a routine yet. Maybe you're brand new to fitness, maybe your last routine just like just didn't work and so you want to start completely over. Either way, just take a moment to answer the questions that are more relevant to you, and then I'll catch you back here to talk about what to do next. What to do. So as a trainer, I get asked a lot, what is the best workout for me to do this? What is the best workout for me to do this? And so on and so forth. There's no one best workout for anything. You can complete a lot of different goals by doing a lot of different things. So it's really less about the activity that you're doing and more about, do you like the activity that you're doing? Because if I really want to gain endurance, let's say, and I think that HIIT is going to be a great way for me to gain endurance, but I hate HIIT, I'm probably not going to be able to stick with it for that long. But let's say I love running. I'm probably better off running more than I am doing HIIT. So this is just gonna break down some common ways of exercise. These are not by any means all of the ways to exercise, but I could write a whole book on that. So these are just a few ways. So we'll actually go through them together, and then there's a check mark in front of it. So if you see any that you like, just give it a little check. And then I recommend doing some additional research on that kind of exercise, like that style, because each of these is so individual. And again, like people write whole books just about functional fitness. So there's no way that I could really give you all the information in like a tiny paragraph like this. Speaking of functional fitness, that's one that we're starting with. Functional fitness is something that I'm really passionate about. It is using exercises that replicate things that we do in our day-to-day life. I think that functional fitness is really great for everyone. I would say like maybe with the exclusion of bodybuilders because they really need to isolate certain areas, and functional fitness doesn't do a lot of isolation. When you think of functional fitness, think like full body, think kettlebell training. You can think like Natasha Ocean, that's a functional fitness influencer. Charlie Atkins does functional fitness. Probably a little bit different moves than what you're used to seeing from someone like Whitney Simmons. Functional fitness, think Natasha Ocean, Charlie Atkins. Weightlifting, the process of lifting weights. So yeah, the title kind of explains exactly what it is. Weightlifting can be combined with functional fitness. Like a deadlift is very functional, but that is also weightlifting. So yeah, a lot of these things also kind of like cross combine, but anything where you're using like dumbbells, barbells, machines, weights. Steady state cardio. This is for my long distance athletes. If you do like 5Ks, marathons, if you're a swimmer, if you're a cyclist, anything like that, that is steady state cardio where you're repeating the same move over and over again for a long period of time. Interval training, so like HIIT, Tabata, these are super popular on Instagram. Usually they only last about 20 minutes long. I know some people like to put these at the end of their strength training workouts. So if you do like weightlifting for like the bulk of your workout and then end with a little HIIT, your routine is most likely gonna have a mix of these things. And I even put in here that CrossFit is a really great example of something that combines interval training with functional fitness. So they're taking things like deadlifts, but then they're adding an interval element to that. So a lot of these things are connected. Pilates, I just started getting into Pilates and I'm really getting into it. I really am enjoying Pilates right now. So Pilates, if you think like Blogilates, she does some Pilates style stuff. Margaret Stewart is a small YouTuber and she's fantastic. So go check her out, give her a follow. That's who I've been doing all of my Pilates stuff with. And she's just really fun because I think Pilates can be a little intimidating sometimes, and she makes it like very friendly, very open, and is just super smart. Boutique fitness is a very generalized term. It's like an umbrella term, just to put all of these companies into one place. So most of these companies have created their own signature style, like Orange Theory Fitness, or Soul Cycle, Barry's Boot Camp, Rumble. All of these things have different elements to them. So we're just gonna put it all under one umbrella. These are like the more branded kinds of fitness. And then lastly, activity training, which is a 100% made up name, but this is in case you like to move through like rock climbing, or maybe you really love soccer or hiking or surfing or anything that is like an activity, and maybe that's how you like to get your movement in. So yeah, again, those are just a few examples. Your routine could have a mix of those things. Your routine could include something that is not on this list. And once again, at the end of the day, the best workout is the one that you enjoy doing. Okay, we're moving on to the next page, finding a resource, which is so important and something that I feel like I personally was lacking for a really long time. So I'm gonna go through a few of the different resources that you could use. Resource number one is personal training. I think that this is one of the best resources that you could use because you're working one-on-one with a fitness professional who is there for you. They're showing up for you. This is the most individualized, working one-on-one. You have complete access to someone. So it's gonna be the most specific to you. But I will say that the cons of it are, it can be really freaking expensive, especially depending on where you live. Like some of the trainers in New York City are just, it's ridiculous. It can be super expensive. I also think that you're not gonna click with every trainer that you get. So yeah, that's just a personality thing. So you may need to try out a couple of different trainers before you find someone that really, really works well with you. Yeah, and then this one is like a pro and a con, is that someone else is waiting for you to show up. So like, yes, there's a layer of accountability, but also you're on somebody else's schedule, so you don't have as much flexibility with your workouts, which is great for some people and not great for other people. So just something to keep in mind. Group fitness. Group fitness is a fantastic way to make friends, especially if you do group fitness at like one of those boutique fitness places. So like Orange Theory, if you take Orange Theory every Monday at 8 a.m., I bet you the same people take Orange Theory every Monday at 8 a.m. So you can make new friends, and the energy is like 9 times out of 10 really, really awesome. Depending on the studio, can be a more affordable option than personal training, but you're still in a room with a qualified instructor who can answer your questions and maybe give you some specific and personalized feedback. So the con of that is that depending on the size of the class, you may not be able to get that personalized feedback, because if like I'm one person and I have a class of 50 people, I can't keep my eyes on all 50 people at the same time. I might have a class coming right after you and I can't answer your questions. So that's just one of those cons, is that, you know, you have to share your time with a lot of other people. And sometimes group fitness can be still really expensive. It can be, I've seen group fitness be more expensive than personal training. So just because it's in a group setting doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be affordable. It really just depends on the studio and where you live and all of those factors. So the third one I have on here is online programs and apps. Some of them are really awesome and some of them are just really not. So the pros of this is that you get to work out on your own schedule most of the time. I know some places do more like structured things, but most of the time with like a program or app, you're able to work out on your own time. This can be a way more affordable option than doing something in person. I know like my program's only $20 a month, and that is 5 workouts a week for only $20. If you were gonna do that with group fitness or with personal training, it would be just so expensive. So comparatively, this is a much more affordable option. And a lot of these programs and apps have a community aspect that you would find in group fitness. I know a lot of these have like Facebook pages or Instagram accounts, or like there's a community aspect within the app. So you still get that strong community feeling. So then the cons is that, again, you're grouped in with people, so this workout isn't gonna be specific to you. Also, no one is watching you in person, so there's nobody to correct your form or give you feedback, or if like one of the moves maybe feels a little bit too difficult or too easy, you know, there's no one there that can give you regressions or progressions of that specific move. And before you purchase any app or program, I really recommend doing some additional research on the creator of that app, because there's just a lot of unqualified people who put out these kinds of programs and apps, a lot of like fitness influencers. And I'm not saying that just because they are like a fitness influencer means that it's going to be a bad app. That's not what I'm saying by any means. I'm just saying that you want to be careful about who you're getting your information from. And that's with any resource. I put it on the apps, but really that's with anyone. You know, you want to make sure that your trainer is like, whether you're doing like personal training or group fitness, like you want to make sure that like your trainer and your instructor are like know what they're talking about. So it's not just the programs and apps. I just think that that's a problem you run into more with those kinds of things, but that's with everything. Like, make sure you're getting your information from a reliable source. And then finally, you can become your own resource. First of all, this is the most affordable option money-wise. I do think that it's gonna cost you a lot of time to do the research, to figure out what works for you and to figure out like what's gonna best get you to your goals. But this could be a really good opportunity for you to learn a lot about yourself and a lot about health and fitness. And my favorite part is that you're on your own schedule, so you can just kind of work out when you want to. And there's no like penalty if you decide not to work out that day or anything like that. One of the big cons of this one is that this is how a lot of people get injured. By not knowing what they're doing, they're not following any kind of program to like at least see what the form looks like. There's no instructor there to help you, so it is a little bit of a risk in the sense that you may not know exactly what you're doing. You also are gonna lose that community aspect. You may not have the support system that you would get from doing something else, and a lot of times it can just be overwhelming. Like, there's a lot of information out there and a lot of false information out there, a lot of conflicting information out there that has been proven on both sides, so it can just be really confusing and I think sometimes overwhelming for people, which is why I would recommend, if you're gonna do this on your own, find a resource and like stick to that. Like a podcast or a blog or a YouTube channel or something like that that you really click with, that, you know, you like that person's views and styles, and just run with that. Like, stick with that person, listen to what they have to say and try and incorporate those things, because yeah, just there's a lot out there and a lot of it is conflicting and no one is wrong. It's all just preference and different sciencey things. And then just a quick note about buying versus investing, because we don't like investing in ourselves at all. It is just something that as humans, we don't like doing. So when you are looking at personal training or group fitness or a program, think of it as investing in yourself, because you're gonna get something back from it. You're gonna get information, you're gonna reach your goals, you're gonna get something back in return. So it's not just like buying a coffee where you're gonna drink it and then it's gonna go away. This is something that you will hold on to, not only today and tomorrow, but literally for the rest of your life. Something else you can think about is, and this is actually what flipped my mindset. I started therapy in 2020, and I'm like not the kind of person who likes asking for help. I am very independent, and something that really helped me with my mindset was thinking about outsourcing. So like I outsource someone to do my taxes, and I outsource my dinner to Grubhub, you know, when I don't feel like cooking. So all of those things are outsourcing. So you can think about this as outsourcing as well. So like we're all really freaking busy and doing awesome things. So like if you don't have the time to be doing a bunch of research on like your health and fitness and how to reach your goals, outsource it. Look at an app or program or trainer who's gonna help you do that, and just think of it as outsourcing. We are on the last chapter of the ebook, Putting It Together, which is really just a section for you to reflect on what we went through so you can have it all on one page and in one place. So on this page, you can write down your overarching goal, you can write down your SMART goal, your why statement, and then I'm gonna give you room on the next page to go in and actually make a schedule for yourself. So that is the workbook. We just went through the whole thing together. Again, go through, do the workbook, take your time with it. I actually recommend going back and doing this at least once a year, but I mean, you could do it as often as you wanted, especially the SMART goal section. Like you can set SMART goals, again, every 4 to 6 weeks. So after you've downloaded the ebook, make sure you check out the last page, because I do have an exclusive offer for anyone who downloads the workbook, so go check it out. Don't skip over it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed the workbook. I'd love to hear what you guys thought about the workbook. Let me know your goals, your why, anything that you want to share. I want to hear it. So comment it below so I can cheer you on, and I will catch you guys in my next video.